Welcome to Down at the Barns. We're back here today, Nick and I, discussing the next steps on the Triumph Stag. So what we're going to do is we're going to step through the sequence of events that need to occur now over the next couple of months.
You're watching Down at the Barns, following the stories of people and their love of classic cars. Everything from restoration to electric conversion. Please subscribe to our channel in the link below.
Okay, so Nick, we've got a whole sequence of events here, and what we want to do is get this finished off as much as we can before it goes off to the body shop. So when it goes to Jason at Classic and Sports Cars, he will fit the doors, the bonnet and the boot on it, and he needs all the weight in the car so that the gaps are right around the doors. And then from there it goes to Rob Sport. They will finish off all wipers, doors, electric windows, all the rest of that stuff, and then it goes from there to trimmers. So we're on a timeline. Everybody's got it scheduled into their workshops.
We need to have the whole car pretty much finished. It'll be tuning from that point onwards,
yeah.
Right? So really, it's got to leave here pretty much finished, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah. In fact, to the point that if we get to Rob Sport, or if it has to leave here, because obviously everybody's got it timed in their workshop now, and if it has to leave here and there's stuff to do, then after Rob Sport, I'll bring it back here before we go to trimmer, because once we go to trim, that's it, it's done, really.
Yeah, so I think the most crucial thing is to get, I think we've got a package for everything now. There's a few little bits that we haven't with modules and that sort of thing, but they're pretty minor, right? We've figured out the air conditioning going in.
Yeah.
We started to build we've built the frame that's going to hold the battery box, the charger and the inverter as a unit, and we've started to put in the rails that we're going to hang the motor on.
Yeah.
So I think we've got the big architecture laid out now, and probably a week or so's time we'll have the motor in. Battery box is being fabricated at the moment, probably a couple of weeks away from having that. So I think we'll have that whole system in there ready to go.
Yeah, and you guys have managed to do everything with absolutely no new holes. Everything mounts off of the.
Yeah, I mean it's a big topic in the conversion world at the moment, right? There's cars. DVLA are inspecting cars and striking them off the register because because people have cut holes in them.
Yeah.
Right. Essentially, modified the monocoque. So yeah, I mean we've made a commitment to you, and we make that commitment on all the cars that we do that we won't cut holes in the body. Right. Yeah. It gives us problems with things like charge ports, where generally they go through the body, but this one we're trying to find a position under the hood where we can actually plug in. Yeah. Unfortunately, you have to open the bonnet to charge it, but that's kind of...
Well, that's a small price to pay.
Yeah,
having the car deregistered.
Yeah.
My God, that's a disaster.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think it's we're very focused on using all of the original mounts and holes. Right. For example, this frame bolts in off the anti-roll bar fixings, but the load is taken back through the chassis. So similar to where the engine was before, the rear mount goes into a hole that was already in the chassis. Yeah. So we're not drilling anything on the car. No. We're very very conscious of that. So I think that's it's a must now, right? We can't afford to. The problem being that if it's deregistered, it's then an IVA test. And then a Q plate. And that devalues the car immediately, and getting these sort of cars through IVA is really difficult. Because there's so much that has changed in an IVA test that this car just wouldn't conform with. So we can't go down that route. It has to be completely original body shop.
And there's a lot of, I guess, emotional attachment to the plate. I've had that plate since I was 21. I want to stick with it.
Absolutely.
And I think we're doing the right thing So once the heater box is in, the dash can go on.
Yep.
And although that's all been covered and you know everything's been refurbished there, I need to put that in because the steering column bolts to the dash. And
yeah. So everyone complains about pushing the car around.
Yeah.
But I also think that's the basis of where the wiring loom comes out of that as well, right? So it's important that we get that in and start building the wiring out, or the low voltage control wiring out of that, because you're putting a whole new loom in this for the vehicle side as well as the electrification side.
Yeah, so after discussing it with Steve, who's been doing the wiring, we've decided to completely replace the loom with an original, or not original, but a new Mark II air-conditioned loom.
Yeah.
That's had to be purpose made, so that's another 2 weeks away. That will go in, and then we will use that as the basis for the electrification part of it. So again, same sort of thing, makes the car completely reversible.
Yep.
If somebody wanted to go back, they could, because the loom's there. The electrification loom is a complete add-on over the running in parallel with it.
Yep. So you modified the spec a little bit, Les. Let's talk a little bit. Hey, look, I think it's absolutely the right idea, and we'll talk about why you've done it in a minute. But you want to add, he wants to add CCS to the car.
The fast charge, yeah.
Fast charge, right?
Yeah.
So, and I think it's the right thing to do. It will give you the peace of mind when you're touring, right? So, 150 to 180 mile range for the car. You'll be able to get 120 mile range in about half an hour. So, I think that's the right thing to do. So,
yeah, I mean, I've been thinking about now we're getting a bit closer. I've been thinking about how do I want to use this when it's finished. And I want to go on adventures. I want to take it down to the south of France. And if I'm going to do that, then fast charge becomes crucial. You know, it's not about racing down there, but it is about being able to travel for a reasonable, I'm not sure you want to do more than 180 miles in this without taking a break, but being able to take a break, do a 45-minute charge, and I know I can really finish the rest of the day.
Yeah, I mean, it's getting rid of that range anxiety, right? Because what you
Yeah.
don't want to do is sit there on a 7 kilowatt charger and spend several hours charging the car.
And I've had the mentality, I know we've discussed this, that for me, the battery technology will move on, and the way this is designed is in 5 years' time, I can take the batteries out, I can put the latest technology batteries in. It's not going to change the performance, but it will change the range.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, and
it will change the range.
I mean, I think you was telling me you've seen a 20% increase in energy density within a
within over the last two years, right?
Yeah.
We've seen that, and that will carry on.
Yeah.
I mean, the other thing that will happen is different technology or different chemicals for the anode and cathode in the lithium-ion battery will lead to faster charging capability as well, right? I think we're seeing more and more of that coming as well. So yeah, you're right. In a few years' time, it's not the cheapest option to go and change your batteries, but there is that opportunity, right?
Yeah. So what do you think? I mean, you know around the industry what's going on, but what do you think we're going to be able to get fast charging time down to, say, in 5 years' time? What's your best guess?
Well, we could with this car go to sort of 200, maybe 250 kilowatt charge.
Right.
That's there today and capable for these batteries. The big problem with that is we'd have to cool the battery.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's kind of already out there, but the having to put cooling into the battery, it makes it more expensive, less reliable.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got water running around inside your battery. You need a second low temperature radiator in there. There's lots of negatives towards it that we as a company have said we don't want to do that at the moment, right?
Yeah.
It will come, and I'm sure the customers will demand it. But for the moment, the way that you want to use your car, after you've driven 150, 180 miles, you will want to stop and have a cup of tea.
Yeah, sure.
Right.
Yeah.
So for what we're doing right here, right now, it's the right solution, right?
Yeah,
it keeps the cost
down.
Right?
Yeah.
So I think there's already 350 kilowatt chargers out there. We're just not exploiting that, but for a very specific reason
Yeah.
of cost down, complexity down, right?
Yeah.
You know, I'm sure the marketplace will drive us there at some point.
Yeah. So we need to get the heater box finished off and operating, and then we need to get the dash in the car. And the reason we need to do that is because the steering column bolts to the underside of the dash. So we can't move the thing around very easily. So normally you wouldn't put a fully refurbished leather covered dash in a car that's still being worked on. But in this case we have no choice. So Nick and I are just offering it up to make sure some of the small modifications we've had to make to the heater ventilation unit actually can work within the space we've got underneath the dashboard. So this comes up onto here, it just slots in there, and then I know we think we've got around it now, but if we need a bit more space above the heater box, then this is where the speaker used to go. I'm not putting a speaker in there, so we must gain 40 mil underneath there, so I think we're okay.
I don't think that's an issue now. I think the other thing, Les, is it then gives us the basis to build the electrical architecture from, right? Because everything really sits within or comes from the instrument panel, right? So it gives us that basis. I agree, it's not great having it, you know, completely upholstered in here, but let's put it in as late as we can once we've got the heater box done, and then go from there.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll be fine. It'll be fine. Okay. So that's the progress to date. Things are going to move fairly quickly now. So I think over the next few weeks we should be back in a couple of weeks' time now.
Yeah, I would hope so.
Yeah.
Look at the battery box, the motor installed.
Yeah, the loom should start to go in. So thank you for joining us at this episode Down at the Barns, and we'll see you again soon.